youngsters. Great chance here. That does it. Steve McGavin. And for the first time, Colchester United have won a major final.
Still Garcia, finally the company arrives and it's in! It's a freak-out goal from Ricardo Carvalho. Richard Garcia wants the credit and the shock is on at the bridge.
And it's promotion for Colchester United. They've made it into the Championship for the first time in 69 years.
Porter, being held, there is Porter, and that's Maka!
Welcome to Beyond the Barside, the podcast that covers all things Colchester United. I am Aaron J, joined as ever by Si and Dave, and it is another preview. It's time for another preview as we look ahead to the Oldham Athletic game. The U's, for the first time in League Two, will be at the JobServe Community Stadium after a hard-fought draw away at Accrington Stanley. But, Si, we're already feeling the effects of injuries with Tom Smith, Teddy Bishop, Jake Leake, Ronnie Harvey, sorry to say, Max Jolliffe, as well as Ben Perry and Jaden Williams, all being on the unavailable list, although Jaden is back training. Are we in danger of repeating last season's injury problems before the campaign has even got going?
I think we're in danger of repeating. I think we are repeating it, if we're going to be quite frank. It's tough, isn't it? Because we all knew the Teddy Bishop one was going to be not a gamble, but it's a roll of the dice almost, wasn't it? To see, right, if this comes off, is really worth keeping, because we know
it's quite a weighted dice, though, isn't it?
It is very much. And, you know, Dave was saying it for quite a while throughout end of last season, as we're doing the pre-season bits of, yes, you rate him because he's a good player, and sadly 3 minutes into the game, that but raised its head, and it's worrying that you've got a player that has been arrested, didn't play against Southampton, and then his first bit of, running, which is quite a key part of football, caused his hamstring to go ping, and as Danny said, his interview today, is looking quite serious, and you'd be surprised if we see him any time between now and November. So straight away we've lost key players. Now it's going to be likely to be Rob Hunt and Digby in midfield, because the options are getting less and less, especially in midfield. When we joked at the beginning of the season, when we said about we want Ronnie to be playing more games, well, actually he's unfortunate because he's in a position where we've got a lot of players where suddenly we're down to, Digby, Milton only, and defender.
Yeah, it's certainly not what Colchester United fans would have expected, given the fact that we'd recruited in central midfield and hoped that would be an area that was strengthened already. Danny did note that maybe another addition would need to come in to replace Teddy Bishop. We're recording on the Thursday. As of yet, nobody has come in, but that doesn't mean that there won't be another central midfielder at the club come kickoff. I'm being optimistic.
Yeah,
I think you need to be, don't we? But what he also said, Dave, was that he praised the fight and spirit shown in the second half at Accrington. How important is that we combine that character with a bit more energy and a bit more control over the game at home?
It is important. I think that's why I think Digby's got to start. We saw the influence he had in the second half against Accrington. Whether or not that you made the point last week, Aaron, some people suggested he didn't come on because he's more of a defensive player, but I think even if you do think that, I kind of disagree with it, but needs must, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
You saw the influence Ellis had on the game in his best position in the second half. You don't want to take that away from the team that's already short. So I think if we can do that, and even if we do, we do sort of, the tactic may be for both Digby and Hunt. I'm pretty sure Hunt will start.
Yeah, I
Into
think
the
it's
mid.
Hunt and Digby, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Even if they provide more of a platform, it could maybe give cause to push Oscar Thorne on a little bit and Harry Anderson getting closer to Brad up front, and give Jack Payne maybe more space to work in, depending on, I don't really know what formation Oldham play, to be honest. They are
4-4-2.
Yeah. So, well, if that's the case, then you can sort of match those two against the centre mid, and might give Jack Payne space to be Jack Payne. So yeah, I think that is really important, and I think we're going to have to be. They've recruited really well, Oldham, including Noah Chilvers. Imagine if we'd have had Noah Chilvers at the moment who can play anywhere up front. Anyway, that's we're looking back 2 years now.
Let's be fair, Oldham has played everywhere but on the pitch.
That is very true. He hasn't yet played for us. Been on the bench. On the pitch, but
until Saturday when he comes on and scores a hat trick.
Yeah. But looking at the U's in particular, social media is often a very raw reaction to the comings and goings and the goings on at the football club, and we put it out there for questions on social media on the day that we record, just to sort of make sure that we're tailoring things to get a bit more of a fan perspective. And James asked if you think we'll set up the way we did against Accrington, particularly given that the reinforcements that we probably need aren't at the club yet. Do you feel like that will be the way we'll set up, at least until the window's shut?
Danny and Nicky have proved they are creatures of habit when it comes to the league, and do like the sort of formation with 4 at the back, 2 in holding midfield, 6 and an 8, and then playing the 10 with 2 wide players, and then the lone striker in the 9. You could argue with the injuries we've got and the players available that going back to the formation we played against Southampton could work. We're playing wing backs just to put people more at their natural positions, but again, we're still quite light then for players on the bench. So personally, I think we'll set up in a normal formation, and it will be Hunt Digby in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And then so everyone else picks themselves pretty much. It's just, yeah. And to be fair, when people have been talking about the midfield and how we've been setting up what we're going to do, I think we've been paying a bit of a disservice to Digby, because he's got a lot of experience at this level. He's played in League One. Rather than saying, we're going to play Ellis and Hunt in midfield, 2 defenders in midfield, it should almost be the conversation, right? It's going to be Digby and who, as someone did allude to on social media, give the guy the respect he's due, and being at home, I think, he will start. So, no, I think we'll stay in the same formation we did against Accrington, and it'll be the Digby Bishop swap, and everything else I think will pretty much stay the same.
You can see if the Southampton formation working, especially if they're 4-4-2, because you match up in all areas, particularly midfield, having the option to bring, but particularly obviously Ellis, to, when needed, to invert, to maybe fill the midfield. So I think it will be the 4-2-3-1, but I can definitely see the going up against that. I can definitely see the benefits of going back to the 3 centre halves.
It could be a change we'll make, like it's games not working out for us, or half time, so to sort of throw something different in. But I suppose in a way it's nice we can talk different formations, the different things that we've seen work, because we have over the last couple of seasons been quite set and rigid in what we've been doing. So it's nice to have a conversation about that.
What we have done though is we have been able to adapt to fit a particular game plan and sort of work that game plan for specific games in the season. I wonder whether the first home game of the season is probably a bit early to start chopping and changing the system. I know that Danny was very clear last season in the fact that he wants to stick to his principles and he doesn't want to deviate from the principles that he's got and what he wants the side to have. So I'd imagine, at least for the first part of the season, we'll be looking to stay, as you said, Si, rigid in a system to try and make sure that everyone knows what they're doing. Jaden Williams was back training this week. Do you feel like he may make an appearance on the bench?
No, not this weekend. No. Too soon.
Who makes the bench, Dave? Because as we've already mentioned, Ronnie Harvey not fit, Jake Leake not fit, Max Jolliffe I don't think probably would have made the bench anyway, but potentially. But he's another option that's not there. So I'll go. In fact, I'll ask you 2 questions, and I'll ask it to both of you. Who starts and who sits on the bench? Dave, I'll go to you first.
I think assuming we do start with 4 at the back, I think it will be the same with Digby in for Bishop. I thought Jerome did well when he came on, but it's too early to I think to start him over Brad. Brad needs to be given a bit more of a chance. And Oscar Thorne I thought did well on the right, and he is an outball with his height and his ability in the air. So I think he's going to be a really important player on Saturday. On the bench, it's a tough thing. We're not going to have a goalkeeper again. That's another one. So it means Terry will definitely be on the bench because he's
a spare goalkeeper. Yeah.
So what I was having that conversation with a few friends about the goalkeeper scenario, because the under-21s goalkeeper, I'm assuming, isn't very old. Is this the young man that was doing his GCSEs last year?
As far as I know, we haven't got a 21's goalkeeper with the 18's guy plays.
The 18's goalkeeper playing up. So we don't have Harrison Chamberlain that potentially would have been that person to be the substitute goalkeeper. We played a few games last season without a substitute goalkeeper due to the Brentwood registration fiasco. Do you feel like that's a risk? I mean, Lototala, he can come out,
You can see him flying out and wiping someone out, can't you?
Yeah, I can. Well, the question is, do you feel like the risk is worth it? The risk of not having...
Some managers still choose to do it, because I think I've seen a stat, I think it's like across the entire Football League, I think it's less than 2% of games require a goalkeeper substitution, a forced goalkeeper substitution.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the balance of probability, it's a minimal risk. It's always a risk, but I think, so it guarantees Terry's on the bench, but I think it's probably worth, depending on how the game's going, Karen Lisby might make the bench, bit of a wild card, depending on how the game goes.
I think this is the game where we really will miss that pace that Kyrese Lisby had last season, because they've got Gus Scott-Morris playing at fullback. Whenever we've spoken to those at BBC Essex, and they're all very complimentary of him moving forward, but they have highlighted his defensive qualities.
To quote Glenn Pennyfather,
it was Glenn. Yeah,
it's a wing back, isn't he? Rather than is a wing back, isn't he? Rather than.
But really, you want someone with pace just to be going at him for 90 minutes.
Who is? Well, I think the answer is Oscar Thorne, but who is our fast player now?
At the moment it's Oscar. I think that's an area that we're really lacking in at the moment.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
definitely.
That pace is put it out there on the Substack about the anatomy of a Danny Cowley side, that they have that tricky, quick, dynamic winger. It was Bruno Andrade at Lincoln City. It was Kyrese Lisby for us last season. I don't think we've got anyone at the moment. I think Oscar Thorne offers loads, but I don't think he offers that, and that really is a string to our bow that we need to add, I think.
Especially in comparison to last year.
Mm-hmm.
We were such a great counter-attacking team at times last year.
Yeah, 100%. And at times we didn't deserve to get anything out of a game, but the fact that Kyrese Lisby just was able to make something out of nothing probably earned us more points than we would have got if he wasn't on the pitch. I know he had his critics, but you can't deny that he was a very influential player when he was firing. Si, same question to you. Who do you see? How do you see the U's lining up, and how do you see the bench looking?
So the lineup will be, as we discussed, in change would be Digby coming in for Bishop in the starting lineup, and the bench is going to be whoever's fit.
Whoever's fit. I like that.
I think so. If you look across the, well, it's going to be the ones obviously were on there last week. As long as I was picked up anyone, not to take Leak out. You could look who you're going to replace him with. I know Akinde was mentioned, wasn't he, by Danny, that he's been playing down 21s. He's had knock. He's not had much pre-season. He's back now with the first team. So the fact he's been named and that this is in detention for the team, you probably see he's going to make an appearance. It would have been nice if he's been a week later, because then potentially Williams could have been back in the bench. But as Dave said, I think it's just a week too soon. If we start risking players a week early, so they lose them for a month, it's false economy, isn't it? So we've almost got to struggle through this patch to get the Ben Perrys, the Jada Williams, people like that back fully fit, so we can use them for the duration rather than 1 or 2 games injured again, 1 or 2 games injured again kind of scenario. And
good chance we don't fill the bench. which it happens.
I think we will. I think there's enough young players that we'd be able to do that. I don't think we're quite at that point.
Emergency signing a sick Dino on there.
But how many times did we have this conversation last season, Si, where we had to muddle through a patch to see what's on the other side, and it doesn't feel like we've got to the other side yet.
The difference is exactly what we just spoke about and you highlighted, Aaron. Even with when we had to muddle through in the midfield, sometimes at fullback as well, Nellis was out. We had Nisby and Mbik and Sampson when he was on form. They're ready to get something, pull something out of the bag. At the moment, we just don't have that.
Also, we shouldn't be worrying about muddling through the second game of the season. The muddling through time comes when games are coming in thick and fast. Pitches are heavy, it's raining, there's cold, people get impact injuries. Not August when the sun's shining and everyone's doing shorts, t-shirt and enjoying the beer goal. This shouldn't be the sort of muddling through thick and fast bit of the season.
No, it really shouldn't be, and we've had a few comments in a similar vein to that side, a sense of we're already 1 or 2 games in and we're talking about having upwards of 5 players out due to injury, and that's not really the most positive start we could have made. And you have to feel for Danny and Nicky having to work in such conditions. But
I would say though, sorry Aaron, I would say obviously Ben Perry's slightly different. It's a given. We know his situation, we know his return schedule, his planned return schedule. I would say of the players that have gone out, only Bishop you would consider a starter. And even then, in the back of everyone's mind with Bishop is what has happened might happen. So really, the first 11 is kind of where it would have been anyway. So we definitely know where we need to strengthen. I'm sure. I think pace is what Danny's looking for as a priority at the moment. Probably even more so ahead of a number 9, I'd say.
And hopefully we get it, and hopefully we're talking next week about a new signing and someone that possesses a little bit of pace and maybe a little bit of experience in the league as well, just to quell any panic buy rumours. But we've got Oldham Athletic coming to the JobServe Community Stadium, and I got an opposition view from Oldham fan and comedian Stevie Gray, and here's what he said. Here we are, U's fans. It's time for the opposition view, and I'm joined by Oldham Athletic fan and stand-up comedian Stevie Gray. How are you doing, Stevie?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you very much for coming on and talking about Oldham Athletic. As you know, Colchester United will be welcoming Oldham Athletic to the JobServe Community Stadium on Saturday. I'll start with the obvious one. How has the summer gone so far for Oldham?
Good, actually. I think it's been a very, very positive transfer window. We've strengthened our midfield, and we're now looking like we're going to be playing pace on the wings with 2 strikers. I say strikers, I use that term reservedly. We've got 2 players up front. What we need is a 20 goal a season striker, as I'm sure every other team in the division needs. I swear, if we had a 20 goal a season striker, we'd win this league.
Yeah. Well, it's looking like maybe you found the secret formula in Callum Kavanagh. 2 goals against Port Vale, him and Fondop as your front 2. I mean, for Colchester, from a Colchester United perspective, I would imagine lots of Hughes fans are quite jealous. Are Oldham fans excited by the prospect of them 2 up top?
Maybe. Kavanagh joined, I think it was January when he came in the window. And if I'm right, I think he only scored 2 goals in the whole of last season. So he's doubled his tally so far in that first game. I went to Stoke in the Carabao Cup and they actually looked quite good together. We didn't score, we got beat 2-0. But you could see the start of something there. But I always think, like, big Mike Fondop, big fan favourite, like cult hero. But do you ever remember when Andy Cole was at Man United and they used to have that thing about him where you give him 5 chances and he'll score 1? I reckon Fondop's 10, if not 15 chances. But we love him because he works his socks off. But yeah, if he could increase that shot to goal ratio, he wouldn't be with us, to be fair.
Yeah, and Mike Fondop is a player that Colchester United fans will feel like we lost out on, given that he was a University of Essex student, got his chance at a local non-league side in Stanway Rovers and worked his way up the division. So it feels like for a few Hughes fans that was an opportunity missed. But aside from Kavanagh and Fondop, who are the players that Hughes fans need to be a little bit more worried about?
So our central midfield has changed in the summer. So Ollie Norburn has come in from Notts County, and that is huge for us because already he's got a cracking own goal against Stoke. But that aside, he's like, already we played Port Vale at the weekend, and he just looks brilliant. He looks like what we need. He's like the quality and the leadership that he's showing. And we've also got Apaya Forson in the middle with him. So that's 2 brand new centre midfielders who are still finding the way. I think if they can gel and work that out with the wingers, I think, yeah, in the middle, they're going to be absolutely class. And then we've got Gus Scott Morris as well, who is so both him and Apaya Forson were in the Southend team that we beat at Wembley to get up from the National League. So it's almost like we've remembered that Wembley day, we remembered how good it was, and we're just trying to recreate it by buying all the players that were there.
Yeah, and Scott Morris was one that Colchester fans were hoping to pick up, given, being based in Essex with Southend. How has he been getting a look in so far in the first?
Yeah, so far he's been a right back. Looked all right. I thought he's played well. It's really good this season. Just how many games are on Sky, and I know I don't have a dodgy box. I actually pay for it, but it's so good to see so many games because being a comic, Saturdays just impossible for us to get to many of the games because we're all over the country. So yeah, being able to watch the 3:00 games or the 12:30 games. But he looked good at Stoke, but he looked good on TV as well against Port Vale.
But given last season, you finished 10th, you were 10 points off the playoffs in the end, but for large spells of that season, you seemed to be in and amongst it, that there were hopes there that potentially you could creep up the table.
Exactly.
What's the hope this season?
I think similar to last season. I think we could definitely make the playoffs. We just need to make sure that we keep everybody fit. And as previously mentioned, if we could get an actual goal scorer in, especially one even if he plays in and amongst the 2 that I've mentioned before, we could have 3 strikers, and between them, if 2 of them stay fit for the rest of the season, we can just pray. But I think this is what happened last season. So Mickey Mellon, our manager, we signed his son on loan, Michael Mellon, who is just absolute class. He's so good. And I think he must have scored 7 think 7 in 16 is what he ended up on, but pulled his hamstring. And as soon as that happened, that's when our title, well, not title hopes, but at least our promotion hopes seemed to like derail. But he was so good. He's gone to Stevenage, 3 years. 3 years signed, sealed and delivered, and I'm so cross.
And a few clubs in the Championship were rumoured to be after him as well. So he was a signature that was sought after over the summer window. Do you feel like Oldham's summer business is done, or do you feel like there could be a few additions between now and September?
Maybe. I think we could possibly add 1 or 2 more. We definitely just need strength in depth, because we just don't, in my eyes, don't appear to have it. What seems to happen with Oldham is we will pick up a lot of injuries at exactly the same time. So as soon as that happens, we look good for so long, and then as soon as we get 5 or 6 in the same month, it all goes wrong.
Yeah, that's League Two, isn't it? It's 46 games. It just takes its toll on a squad, and if you don't have that strength in depth, sometimes it can really derail whatever momentum you had moving forward. But looking ahead to Saturday, given how you've started this season, how do you feel like you'll get on at Colchester?
I think we'll do all right. I would have said, I think most Oldham fans would quite fancy a win. We're very, very optimistic. You'll hear us on Saturday. We've got a very, very loud fan base. Always optimistic. Start of the season, we'll always be saying, this is our season, we're going to get promoted. So I would go for a score draw. I think maybe 1-1. I saw you guys drew at the weekend. So I think 1-1, but I think most Oldham fans would say we'll probably win 1-0 or 2-1. Saying that, we've got such a good defence. It's like our defence and our goalkeeper are just brilliant. And last season, we posted our best ever clean sheet record. So we've got a great goalkeeper, Matty Hudson. I'm surprised he's not been picked off by someone in League One or the Championship. But then, if we can keep hold of him, that's huge for us. And also in defence, we usually have Donovan Daniels and Manny Monte. But Monte, I listen to podcasts. I listen to the Oldham podcast when I go to bed, and they always interview Mickey Mellon. And it's a weird one, because I listen to podcasts with my phone underneath my pillow. Mickey Mellon's Scottish accent is that thick, it can't get through my pillow. So I have to take the phone out to try and understand what on earth he's saying. I apologise to any Scottish people from Paisley if that's offensive, but try it. Listen to a Mickey Mellon interview. But anyway, Manny Monte has done something in pre-season. Whether or not he's come back overweight or unfit or been caught on holiday, I don't know what, but he's suddenly been dropped for the start of the season. So I don't know when he's coming back, but when it's Monty and Daniels in the middle, I think we've got a cracking defence.
Yeah, I recall last season your defence being impenetrable, really, given you just seemed like you were really good at smothering Colchester, just sort of snuffing out any momentum that we could have built. And last season it felt like the U's were really frustrated trying to get things going. I looked at the stats for the Port Vale win, and Oldham only had 37% of the possession. Are you a side that is just sort of hitting teams on the break? Are you going direct?
I think that's what Mellon said at the weekend, saying that he's looking for the pace on the wings and the forwards. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe this is our new tactic. He was described as saying we want to play the Oldham way, but I've been an Oldham fan now for nearly 40 years, and most of that was long ball. How high can you kick it to the big forward up front? Harking back to the days of Ian Marshall. Yeah.
It's I mean, the long ball method, if you look at Bromley last season, it certainly has its place in League Two. But of course, it's not the only time we've played each other. We played each other last season. It was a draw when we came to the JobServe Community Stadium. But in 2008, you attended what was the Western Homes Community Stadium.
Yeah.
The kickoff was delayed for quite peculiar reason that you reminded me of that I'd since forgotten. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Oh, well, I looked this up to make sure I wasn't dreaming this, but none of the major news media outlets reported this. But the game was late because the Oldham team went to the wrong stadium. So that's which is just classic Oldham. If anything sums us up as a club, yeah, getting a bus to the wrong ground. Just how is the new? It's not even new anymore, is it? Where it's nearly 20 years old, but still feels.
Yeah. So I think it was our first season in the ground at that point, and the bus went to Layer Road, which was our previous ground, which is now flats and houses and all of that sort of stuff. So it would have had to have travelled through Colchester to get to the ground. So it wouldn't have been convenient for the coach driver to get through, given quite how much traffic there would have been around a match day too. I would think if you ask a lot of Colchester United fans if they would want to go back to Layer Road, a traditional sort of terraced ground, I think a lot of them would say yes. But then I also think if you thinking back to that period when we were at Layer Road, everyone wanted a new stadium. So I think sometimes it's a case of the grass being greener.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Oldham have done the opposite, where we've just knocked stands down and have rebuilt them in a new fashioned way. And it's kind of the best of both worlds, but just looks peculiar. But it's nice to have the old style ground.
Yeah,
it looks a mess, but it's not. It's our mess.
Yes, 100%. And I mean, how many people do you feel Oldham will bring on Saturday?
We usually take. The thing is, anywhere in the north, and we usually take a good couple of thousand, but I'm not sure how many will go. I think we'll probably take about 1,000 though, because one thing that we've done, which I think Oldham need praise for, is we've always encouraged the youth to come to the games, with cheaper tickets, free tickets, or, dads pay so, I say dads, like parents pay so much and the kids get in either free or cheap. Also, we have like the ultras, with the drums and the singing, and it's just encouraged a whole new generation. Because in the area we are, when you've got teams like United and City, and then even Liverpool just down the road, so kids, to make somebody support Oldham, because it's almost like a sentence rather than a passion, isn't it? It's like you're going to support a lower league division team, but there's such a community in the fan base. And they do travel around the country. You see them like getting on the coaches at like 6 a.m, going with the drums and everything. So, yeah, I reckon we should take about 1,000.
1,000 Oldham fans in voice, and I hope they have a lovely season. And it starts after the Colchester United game, of course. But Stevie, thank you so much for coming on and just sharing that perspective. We've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Huge thank you to Stevie for sharing his thoughts and opinions. And Oldham Athletic are coming off a 2-0 win at Port Vale, but they only had 37% of the possession, but they were clinical when their opportunities came. Does that make them particularly dangerous against a Colchester United side that haven't quite got everyone they need yet?
Yes, because especially last season, we could only just sort of look at stats of games and things like that. But there was a lot of games where we had a lot of the ball and didn't necessarily do much with it. And then when the chances were there, we squandered them. We were missing for sort of a couple of yards out. It just weren't clinical enough, or we should have been passing, we should have been shooting, etc. So to come up against a team that has such small amount of possession, especially being at home, which is worrying for them, against a team that people are looking to be a decent side in the league, Port Vale this year, they clearly know what they're about, are quite happy to let teams have the ball, break them down as they need to, find their moment, and when they get the moment, they really do go for that killing blow. So it's a team we're going to be very, very switched on against, very disciplined in the fact that because they don't necessarily want the ball, they're going to pounce on mistakes. So whereas they're looking for one mistake, we've got to make sure we're almost perfect all the time. So it's, they've got to be lucky once, we've got to be lucky all the time kind of scenario. And I'd rather they were a team that had like 90% of the ball, only managed to score one, because you look at the actually they don't do much with it, but clearly they're set out to be clinical.
They do, and they've really recruited well. And Dave, Ollie Norburn is a favourite of yours. You spoke about him last season when he was at Notts County, and Mickey Mellon praised his link-up play with Callum Kavanagh last weekend, who got a brace himself. With our midfield being Paul Digby and Rob Hunt, who isn't a central midfielder, it is more of a makeshift midfield. How important is it to try and stop Norburn from controlling the middle of the pitch?
And I think Digby matches up with him quite well on that. He's not as mobile as him, but he can certainly match him physically and experience as well. So I think Digby will be designated to look after him. And if they want to match up like that, and we do. Like you said, Si, I think last season we did struggled against teams like that were happy to not have the ball and let us dictate, and we weren't necessarily able to create. But putting a positive spin on it, we don't have the pace of Lisby or Aurora or Sampson, but as the season wore on and our strengths became clear to the league, teams matched up against that, sat deep, and there were games, particularly some of those home games, Crawley and other ones Grimsby, where we just couldn't get the goal. Well, that didn't become a factor. And it might be that the players we have now, Digby, good example, Thorne, with that added physicality, might actually be better suited to this sort of game. So looking at it like that, there's no reason we can't actually approach this game a little bit differently than we would last year, as we would expect, really. And Port Vale, from what I've seen, are quite haven't seen much of them, don't know much about them, but I think they're more similar to what they've got some quick players out wide. So they're quite similar to us last year, which may be a bit of a pattern there that those sort of teams Oldham might match up well against. And at the moment, we're not that sort of team, but that might work in our favour.
It may well do. And what they do have, though, is they have two centre forwards competing with one another, which is a worry for us. I mean, they've got Callum Kavanagh, who came in last season and didn't hit the ground right away last season, but he seems to have come back this year with a bit between his teeth. Scored twice against Port Vale, had a really good game against Stoke as well. But then they've got Mike Fondop, who we all know from last season is a hard-working. He stretches defences, he bullies defences, he's clever on the ball, he's clever off the ball. Hughes fans probably feel a bit annoyed that he's not a Colchester player, given that he's a University of Essex graduate and he played for Stanway. But he got a lot of praise during that Port Vale game from the local papers, and he didn't score. So how concerning is it that they've got two forwards who seem to be pushing each other and starting the season really strongly?
It's always a concern, isn't it? But I don't know. Let's be positive here. Maybe all our injury worries and the fact that we had such a poor first half against Accrington. Yes, we were better the second half, but it wasn't really a complete performance we're hoping for. We're now going up against an Oldham team that did business against Port Vale, got some good players, two strikers are on form, jockeying for each other. But maybe it takes some of the pressure off. Maybe because of this, Oldham are going to come to town expecting to do the business, expecting to find a culture side that's in disarray, a fan base that's not expecting much, and a group of players that are hanging on to the hamstrings like anything, just hoping not to be the next one on the treatment table. So maybe this plays into our favour where we do lure them, where we see sort of false insecurity, and all the strengths we've spoken about comes to fore. Their weaknesses are exploited because of the fact that we can match them in midfield. We can slow the game down. If they haven't got the ball, we don't need to be quick. We can control the pace of the game. We want to be ourselves. So maybe it's one of these really weird situations where the bad is going to become the good. It's going to work in our favour.
Yeah, and as Dave said, we are potentially more equipped to deal with Oldham than we were last season, and I used the term suffocating when I spoke to Stevie about Oldham's performance last season, that they smothered us and didn't let us really do anything. Well, actually, can Colchester United do that to them? Can we frustrate them? Can we limit what they do and try and get something out of the game? But I'll always try and look positively on the Colchester United result in my prediction, but that doesn't mean that you two have to. Dave, how do you see this one playing out?
Heart says we can nick it 2-1, but I'm going to go in my head and say 1-1.
Yeah.
Which, I think the way Oldham has started, the way they recruited, where we are at the moment, wouldn't necessarily be a bad result. Obviously, depending on the performance and how the game goes. And I really think Oscar Thorne's going to be important, so I'm going to go for him to score.
1-1 Oscar Thorne. I like it. And Si, you got the score correct last week. You went for 2-2, and of course, Colchester United came away with that 2-2 draw. What are you going for this week?
So I think I've already peaked too soon now. I've got one right for season, so that's me done.
Yeah.
So don't bet on any
Season over.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done now for any correct predictions. I think it's going to be 2 again. And
You do?
Yeah, I think we're going to go 2-0 down. It's going to be moans and groans. We're going to change it up. Things are going to change. We're going to get ourselves back in the game, and we're going to grab a late point, which will bring us on to a conversation in our review show about how, it was negative, but there's a positive from it. Can we take this momentum forward? And the goal scorers are going to be Brad and Jack Payne.
Payne from open play or from the spot?
Open play.
I like it. I'm going to agree with you, Dave. I'm going to go with 1-1. I saw Phil on X suggest that maybe we'll be draw merchants for a little bit this season, and I think for the beginning of the season, until we've sort of bedded in, I think that's a wise suggestion. So I'll go for 1-1, and I'll back my prediction last week and go with Sean Raggett again. I feel like set pieces, as they were important against Accrington, I think they're going to be important against Oldham too. But Si, Dave, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and insights. And I won't be speaking to you for the Oldham review show.
Well, yeah, it's on us, isn't it?
Because I'm on holiday, so it'll be up to Si, Dave, and I'm assuming Aaron 2.0 will be coming in to do that. So
Maybe we shouldn't have revealed that, Aaron, because the listeners might plummet.
Yeah, or they might
that
go
prospect
up.
In mind.
Or they might double.
Or they might double. You're quite right.
Fingers crossed.
If anyone wants to replace me for the next episode, shoot Dave or Si a message.
Guys, how you said message in the
I
was like shoot Dave, yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to put that on YouTube. I think that would make it
struck.
That strike us off. So on that lovely note and that lovely mental image, Si, Dave, thank you very much. I'll see you soon.
Cool. Cheers.
Guys.